everybody. I hope you are having an amazing holiday season right now. And I have some crazy news for you guys today. This is all part of our commentary videos that we're putting out right now. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. But coming out of High Times today, they're telling me that the Swiss capital mulls the possibility of legal cocaine sales. Are you kidding me? What is happening in the Swiss Alps? Just under 2 months after announcing a pilot program for legal cannabis sales, legislators in the Swiss capital of Bern are discussing an entirely novel idea: legal cocaine. Local government officials in the Swiss capital of Bern are discussing the possibility of launching a pilot program to study the effects of legal cocaine sales on the general public. Are legal sales supposed to have a different effect than illegal sales on the general public? I'm wondering about that. That's very interesting. According to Reuters, legislators in the Bern parliament have proposed the idea as a potential solution to increase cocaine usage in a country already infamous for some of the highest levels of cocaine in Europe. The discussion began just weeks after a select few Swiss cities, Bern included, launched a similar pilot program to analyze the effects of legal adult-use cannabis sales for the first of its kind in Europe. Well. In quotes, "The war on drugs has failed and we have to look at new ideas," said Eva Chen, a member of the Bern Council from the Alternative Left Party who co-sponsored the proposal. "Control and legalization can do better than mere repression," she says. Well, I personally agree with that, but I imagine that there's going to be more cocaine in the Swiss Alps than there's going to be maybe even in Colombia. But nonetheless, legislators in support of the idea propose that due to falling prices of cocaine and rising levels of use, especially in Switzerland, the most common sense solution would be to regulate and control the flow, distribution, and purity of the supply rather than continue to fight the uphill battles of prohibition policies. In quotes, "We have a lot of cocaine in Switzerland right now, at the cheapest prices and the highest quality we have ever seen," said Frank Zobel, Deputy Director of Addiction Switzerland. In quotes, "You can get a dose of cocaine for about 10 francs these days, not much more than the price for a beer," they say. Oh man, wow. I wonder how much actually comes in that bag of cocaine. Is it like an 8-ball? Is it a 16th? Is it just like a line, a little tutor or something? What's going on? I want to know, how much does 10 francs really get you? The measure has already passed the Bern parliament, but still needs approval from the city government before a program can be officially implemented. The measure would also require a legislative change at the national level, so there are still many hurdles to overcome before Bern residents can expect to walk into a cocaine store without fear of legal repercussions. This is at least part of the reason why the proposal is for a pilot program study rather than direct legalization. Pilot program. "We are still far away from potential legalization, but we should look at new approaches," Chen said to Reuters. "That is why we are calling for a scientifically supervised pilot scheme trial," you guys. They're calling it a scheme trial, okay? I think this is just to get rid of someone's cocaine, but nonetheless, I think some cocaine dealer out there has a very good lobbyist and is doing some real work in these cities. The program would be the first of its kind in the world at large, where cocaine remains largely illegal for the purpose in a majority of Earth's sovereign nations. There are some notable exceptions. In Mexico, for instance, it is legal to carry up to a half gram of cocaine for personal use. In some South American countries, low-level possession and cultivation of a small number of coca plants is legal, and many countries have decriminalized personal possession of cocaine. And the United States, there are some states like Oregon which have decriminalized as well. In many countries, cocaine can also be prescribed for medical purposes, though the rates or prescription are likely very low because comparable medicines exist with far lower rates of abuse. Nowhere on God's green earth, however, is cocaine legal to be sold under the guise of adult use. Swiss legislators hope to change that in the name of personal safety and harm reduction, to say nothing of the economic incentives that must exist for terrible cocaine sales. Must exist for taxable cocaine sales. They spelled that wrong in the article. They're going to have to fix that. High times. Cocaine, in quotes, cocaine can be life-threatening for both first-time and long-term users. The consequences of an overdose, but also individual intolerance to even the smallest amounts, can lead to death, the Bern government said. Well, that's because all these people are putting fentanyl inside the cocaine, and that's what's happening with a lot of the times. The issue remains hotly contested both around the world and among addiction experts in Switzerland, and not at all in favor of legalization. Boris Quindow, a group leader for the University of Zurich Center of Psychiatric Research, told Reuters the issue differed from alcohol. Cocaine is one of the most strongly addictive substances known, Quindow said. Those in favor of legalization have expressed that common sense measures need to happen because the prohibition's abject failure to keep cocaine out of Swiss cities, not to mention anywhere else. Those in favor of legalization have expressed that common sense measures need to happen because of prohibition's abject failure to keep cocaine out of Swiss cities, not to mention everywhere else. And in quotes, cocaine isn't healthy, but the reality is people use it, said Theo Beck from the Arud Zunetric for addiction medicine to Reuters, in quotes. We can't change that, so we should try to ensure people use it in the safest, least damaging way. And just for the record, this gentleman is in no relation to myself. Before anyone gets all gung-ho about emerging to Switzerland, these proposed changes could take years before they go into effect. National law would need to be amended as aforementioned, and the process largely depends on the success of the adult use cannabis pilot program currently underway. Many other measures would also need to be taken before any sort of launch date or approval process could be considered. Quality control measures, supply chain concerns, and harm reduction practicalities, to name a few, would need to be ironed out to stand up to the full Swiss legislative scrutiny. Well, sounds like you could do a lot more than just skiing in the Alps this winter, but the new pilot program sounds a little bit iffy to me. But who knows? I've seen crazier things happen, but can you just imagine walking in fresh off the Alps and walking into the cocaine bar and they just have like golden straws laid out for everyone all across? I mean, I could see it, Switzerland, and you know what? It's probably not going to be Oakland that does it first, because it's probably not going to be San Francisco either. So go for it. You know, one other thing I wonder too, I wonder what Boston George thinks about this.